obviously I got an obsession with Caitlin Clark. So I want to bring a couple of things into this as it relates to Caitlin Clark, because she's so critical. And again, as the Jackie Robinson, she has success. It's going to encourage and inspire other women to stand up. And even though, Caitlin's doing it very subtly, if at all, maybe it's all unintentional, but I do know she's the target. And I saw that Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were talking about this, and they're all trying to frame this, the Caitlin Clark deal, in this racial envelope, and they're wrong. And I'm going to explain to you why they're wrong, but we're going to start with Sue Bird on her podcast with her friend, or whatever they're calling each other themselves. SOT number 2. Let's play that.
Can we just like call a spade a spade? Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Mm-hmm. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player, I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. Mm-hmm. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued as a basketball player. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play. Mm-hmm. I think everybody in the league can say that. Mm-hmm. But nobody ever let us do that. So what happened? We started to build a backbone, a little bit of an identity. We understood that in order to push our league forward, we were going to have to combat these things. And then you know what else we learned? It feels good to stand up for yourself. Mm-hmm. It feels even better to stand up for others. We started to learn that people were learning from us and able to follow us in a different way. Mm-hmm. And who are we following? Black women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's such an important part. And I think, again, I get sad when I talk about this a little bit, in that we're still not talking about basketball.
No.
We're still not allowed to be focused on for our basketball play. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say we're not going to continue to combat these things. That'll always exist, I think, in the fabric of our league. Mm-hmm. But we still aren't talking about basketball.
Yeah.
They're not talking about basketball because you don't want to talk about basketball, just as you described there. You couldn't get any traction based on your basketball. And so you decided, hey, we got to talk about racism and sexism to draw attention. We have to kneel during the national anthem to draw attention. It's bad strategy. You just wanted attention. You were being an attention whore. And so because your basketball couldn't do it, you went to other things. It's like a kid that can't get attention from its parents. They start acting out. They'll do anything I'll start skipping school. I'll start smoking marijuana. I'll start talking back to my teacher. I'll start doing things to get my parents' attention because I'm not getting enough attention. That's what you did. You chose bad behavior because your basketball wasn't good enough. And instead of saying someone showed up here who plays good enough basketball to draw attention, and now people are actually evaluating my basketball. They're having conversations about, well, who's Rookie of the Year? Who's the MVP? Is it Caitlin Clark? Is it A'ja Wilson? People are talking about basketball. And so this whole thing of, racism stopped the WNBA. No, it didn't. Here's the facts. Here's what's been the problem with the WNBA. Now, I'm sorry, these are just true facts. You had too many women tatted up and looking like men, that it was unattractive. People don't want to see that. People don't want to see women doing an impersonation of men. I know that everybody in San Francisco and everybody on the left loves a drag show, but there are a lot of traditional sports fans who have no interest in going to a drag show. I'm someone that used to go to Vegas a lot. Never went to a drag show. Never appealed to me. Now, and that's not me saying, oh, I'm the most heterosexual person in the world, and I am man, hear me. That's not, it just never drew my attention. Spearmint Rhino, yeah, drew my attention. And that's a lot of people. You would be shocked at how many people have no interest in ever seeing men dressed up as women or women dressed up as men. It's not a good sales product. And so people weren't interested. Caitlin Clark shows up with her ponytail and no tattoos and plays a brand of basketball that's exciting and fun to watch, and voila, a crowd shows up. And then they take advantage, like, oh, we got Angel Reese, who likes to be a woman and dress up as a woman. She's going to lean into that. We're going to pair her with Cameron Brink, who likes to dress up and appear like a woman. And the next thing you know, the brand of the WNBA started to change. Like, oh my God, these are women playing basketball. And Caitlin Clark plays in a way that's exciting and fun. And then the next thing you know, Jason Whitlock's watching and he starts going, well, look at Kelsey Mitchell. That's fun too. I like that. And then I look at Aaliyah Boston, I go, man, this woman's 6'4", 6'5", but man, her spirit, her soul, her energy is so positive, I can't help but root for her. And then I'm like, holy cow, this little Erica Wheeler, yeah, she got some tats and, not on the super feminine side, but man, do I love her heart, and do I love the way she supports her teammates, particularly Caitlin Clark. And the next thing you know, I like Erica Wheeler too. That's how the process works. Y'all want to talk about racism, and Sue Bird thinks she has to bow down to angry black women in order to be accepted. She just unpacked how she basically went through the same experience as everybody else in the WNBA, and she's a white woman. And she was ignored, no different than the black players were ignored. But we've been dealing with racism even before Caitlin Clark. You ain't been dealing with racism. You've been dealing with, because again, is the NBA, Butter, how many black players do you think are in the NBA? What percentage do you think the black players in the NBA, in the NFL? They don't have a problem drawing a crowd. Black players in the NBA, black players in the NFL, they don't have a problem drawing attention. So people just turn on and off their black races. Oh, well, we're good with black men and we'll support them. But black women, we hate them and we won't watch them. And so it's all racist. Nah, your product wasn't any good. It wasn't marketed properly. It just properly, appropriately, smartly, intelligently. And you didn't have a superstar. Now you got one. And instead of complaining about what you didn't have, you should be thankful for what you do have. Some women are getting it, and hats off to them, and particularly hats off to these great, courageous women that are, because this cis issue is going to open people's minds, and we should be doing the job. I'm talking about those of us that are evangelical, those of us that call yourself a conservative. We should be talking about the cis rights movement and what we're putting women through, and what these courageous women that are standing up, young, older, we should be championing them and talking about them. It's a way to open people's eyes to, hey, the differences between us and them. They want men naked in front of your daughters. They want men dressed up as women shaking their balls in front of your kids at drag-friendly or child-friendly drag shows. They want men dressed up as women reading books to your children at the library. Let parents, let that sink through. That will clear up the cloudiness. That will help them understand, like, yeah, Donald Trump ain't perfect, but compared to this, compared to some man shaking his bat and balls in front of my kids, I'll choose option B. That's why they're not talking about this. They will talk about a little black girl, auntie, saying she got called a name, but women actually refusing to compete against a man in collegiate sports. Crickets. No one, it's not happening. Look the other way. We got to force them to look at it, force them to discuss it. This is why I don't like these people. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.